The meaning of the Holy Quran, according to Abdullah Yusuf Ali, the translation has the introductions and summaries, so this will probably be the last section of those. Introduction and summary to Surah 101, Al-Qariya. So this is, the Great Calamity is 11 verses. This Meccan surah describes the judgment day as the day of clamor, when humanity will be distracted and the landmarks of this world will be lost, but every deed will be weighed in a just balance and find its real value and setting. Introduction and summary to Surah 102, Al-Takathur. This probably early Meccan surah gives a warning against acquisitiveness, i.e. the passion for piling up quantities or numbers, whether in the good things of this world or in manpower or in other forms of megalomania, which leave no time or opportunity for pursuing the higher things of life. And after these 8 verses of the piling up, we have Surah 103, Al-Asr, so the time through the ages. This early Meccan surah refers to the testimony of time through the ages. All history shows that evil came to an evil end, but time is always in favor of those who have faith, live clean and pure lives, and know how to wait in patience and constancy. The theme of Surah 95 as well. And after these 3 verses, and I guess we'll get into Appendix 11. To close, we have the introduction and summary to Surah 104, Al-Humsa. This Meccan surah condemns all sorts of scandal, backbiting, and selfish hoarding of wealth as destroying the hearts and affections of humanity. And then we have the introduction and summary to Surah 105, Al-Fil. This early Meccan surah refers to an event that happened in the year of the birth of our Holy Prophet, say about 570 of the Common Era. Yemen was then under the rule of the Abyssinians, the Christians, who had driven out the Jewish Himyarite rulers. Abraha Ashram was the Abyssinian governor, or viceroy, intoxicated with power and fired by religious zeal. He led a big expedition against Mecca, intending to destroy the Kaaba. He had an elephant or elephants in his train, but his sacrilegious intentions were defeated by a miracle. No defense was offered by the custodians of the Kaaba, as the army was too strong for them, and they knew it. But a shower of stones thrown by flocks of birds destroyed the invading army almost to a man. The stones produced sores and pustules on the skin, which spread like a pestilence. And so 9 verses, and this is 5 verses, and then the introduction of Al-Filos the elephant to Surah 106, Quraysh. The tribe. Well, I mean, the word doesn't mean tribe, but yeah, I don't remember what Quraysh means at the moment. The Meccan surah may well be considered as a pendant to the last. If the Quraysh were fond of Mecca and proud of it, they profited by its central position and its guaranteed security from their caravans of trade and commerce. Let them be grateful, adore the one true God, and accept his message. And after these 4 verses, we have the introduction to this and summary to Surah 107, Al-Ma'un, the neighborly assistance. This surah, at least the first half of it, belongs to the early Meccan period. The subject matter is the meaning of true worship, which requires faith, the practical and helpful love of those in need, and sincerity rather than show in devotion and charity. And after these 7 verses, we have the introduction and summary to Surah 108, Al-Kawthar. This very brief early Meccan surah sums up the single mystic word, Kawthar, abundance, the doctrine of spiritual riches through devotion and sacrifice. The converse also follows. Indulgence in hatred means the cutting off of all hopes of this life and the hereafter. And after the 3 verses of the abundance, we have the introduction and summary to Surah 109, Al-Kafirun, those who reject faith. This is another early Meccan surah. It defines the right attitude to those who reject faith. In matters of truth, we can make no compromise, but there is no need to persecute or abuse anyone for his faith or belief. After those 6 verses, we have the introduction and summary to Surah 110, Al-Nasr. This beautiful surah was the last of the Suwar to be revealed as a whole, though the portion of the verse 5:3, this day I've perfected your religion for you, etc., contains probably the last words of the Quran to be revealed. The date of this surah was only a few months before the passing away of the Holy Prophet from this world. Rabi the first, Al-Hijra, year 11. The place was either the precincts of Mecca at his farewell pilgrimage, Dhu Al-Hijra, year 10, or Medina after his return from the farewell pilgrimage. Victory is the crown of service, not an occasion for exaltation. All victory comes from the help of Allah. So no messianic complex issues here. That either you give up and are after things have been achieved and continuing, or you give up because there's going to be some victory or something, but through other people. But so after the 5 verse, after the 3 verses of the help, we arrive at, so it's a different Nasr, not Nasr, Nasra, so different than what we previously went over. The introduction and summary to Surah 111, Al-Masad, or Al-Lahab. So the plaited rope or the flame. This very early Meccan surah, though it referred in the first instance to a particular incident in a cruel and relentless persecution, carries the general lesson that cruelty ultimately ruins itself. The man who rages against holy things is burnt up in his own rage. His hands, which are the instruments of his action, perish, and he perishes himself. No boasted wealth or position will save him. The women who are made for noble emotions may, if they go wrong, feed unholy rage with a fiercer fuel to their own loss, for they may twist the torturing rope round their own neck. It is a common experience that people perish by the very means by which they seek to destroy others. And after those 5 verses, we arrive at the introduction and summary to Surah 112, Al-Ikhlas. Now these 3 surahs, these 3 suwar to end Al-Quran summarize the Quran. So, and this Al-Ikhlas is the purity of faith. This early Meccan surah sums up in a few terse words the unity of God, often professed, but frequently mixed up with the popular mind with debasing superstitions. So no Godhead, kind of like atheism, but a theism. You'll understand more when you hear it, I guess. And sort of like pantheism, but without the different divinity, without the different deities, right? After those 4 verses, we get the introduction and summary to Surah 113, Al-Falaq. This early Meccan surah provides an antidote to superstition and fear by reaching us to seek refuge from God from every kind of ill arising from outer nature and from dark and evil plottings and envy on the part of others. And after the 5 verses of the daybreak, different from Fajr, we get the introduction and summary to Surah 114. Anas, mankind. And so we get 6 verses there. This early Meccan surah is a pendant in the last surah and concludes the Holy Quran with an appeal to us to trust in Allah rather than humanity as our sure shield and protection. It warns us especially against the secret whispers of evil within our own hearts. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.